In tonight's Tax Insider, the bullet train. In 1981, California started evaluating the potential for a high-speed rail corridor. They partnered with Japan and drew up plans to connect the state's major metropolitan systems. Today, that project is behind schedule, and experts say the $68 billion budget will probably grow. For more, I'm joined by David Williams, president of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Dave, I'd like to start with a quote plucked from a recent article in the LA Times. The California High-Speed Rail Authority hasn't yet chosen an exact route through the mountains. It also is behind schedule on land acquisition, financing, and permit approvals, among other crucial tasks, and is facing multiple lawsuits. Now, that's quite a laundry list. Bring us up to date on this project, Dave. And I understand they're tunneling through fault lines?
Absolutely, Morris. And this project is a mess, and it's been a mess from the very beginning. It was originally estimated to cost only, and I say only, $33 billion. That number has gone up to $68 billion. And you mentioned some of the problems, but it kind of had a weird history because money was appropriated through the stimulus bill back in 2009, $2 billion. Then the state legislature approved the high-speed rail line, and then an additional $4 billion was spent by federal taxpayers, and they really don't know what to do or where to go with this high-speed rail line to go through the mountains. And as you mentioned, which mountains do they go through? And there's all sorts of environmental concerns, fault lines, national forests. There's a wind farm. There's even a wind farm they're going to have to contend with when they do this. So this $68 billion, even experts are saying $68 billion, believe it or not, is conservative. We could look at 40 to 50 or 60% more that it's going to cost, and they just started construction. So this is a very bad sign. And if you remember the big dig in Boston, I mean,
yes,
that cost a lot of money. So there's no reason to think that this is going to come in even close to $68 billion at this point. So this is going to make the bridge to nowhere, really, it's going to dwarf it in comparison.
Now, I've got an idea. As it passes past the windmill farms and everything, if it goes fast enough, the wake turbulence can make the windmills go even faster.
Brilliant. It's absolutely brilliant.
So you're saying all of us taxpayers, we do have a dog in this fight. It's not just a California concern.
We absolutely do. Right now, we have about $6 billion of skin in the game. But also the precedent it establishes, because think about other projects around the country that you're going to have jealousy. You're going to have jealousy from other states and localities that want transportation money. But think about this, Morris, that $6 billion, imagine the infrastructure improvements that could have made to the state of California alone. Instead of this big boondoggle, they could have fixed roads, they could have fixed bridges. So
right,
I think that's really the opportunity that's been lost here by California.
And from 2009, they would have been done by now.
Absolutely.
Now, there is a local connection here. You're also following a $28 million award to the state of Maryland. They want to build a 40-mile bullet train between D.C. and Baltimore. Does it make sense? Tell us more.
This really doesn't, because this is going to be a $10 billion project. But here's kind of a neat little twist to this, Morris, is that they're looking for private funding. Yes, this $28 million to study it is from taxpayers, so that's gone, that's out the door. We'll never get that back again. But they are looking for private funding, but the logistics of this it doesn't make sense. They want a trip from D.C. to Baltimore to be 15 minutes. Right now it's 40 minutes, so I don't know how many riders are actually going to be on this train to make it economically viable.
Wow. An old Simpsons episode keeps running through my mind, Marge versus the monorail. It starred Leonard Nimoy, and remember that one? The Baltimore Sun reports Governor Larry Hogan has been stressing private investment in the project if it's approved. Is that the formula for success?
It really is. And if Governor Hogan can pull this off, if he can have it completely privately funded, then that's great. But again, do they need this? It really doesn't seem like they need this, because you're cutting 25 minutes off a trip from 40 minutes to 15 minutes. So really, what is the point here? And can this money be spent elsewhere within the state, as I mentioned in California? Every state has transportation needs. I mean, look at the Silver Spring Transit Center.
Oh,
that
please.
was a boondoggle of all boondoggles. So Maryland, I think, needs to focus not on high-speed rail, but fixing Baltimore streets, really fixing streets across the state of Maryland. So let's prioritize what the needs are.
Before you go, Dave, let's revisit the financial woes of the U.S. Postal Service. Another year-end loss. this time $5.1 billion. You said that figure should serve as a wake-up call for Congress. Why?
So $5 billion this year, total $20 billion in losses. This is their 9th consecutive loss. And I don't know if you saw over the weekend that the Postal Workers Union endorsed Bernie Sanders for President of the United States. And I'm assuming they sent him an email. They didn't send it regular mail because it would probably have taken a few weeks for him to get that endorsement. But seriously, the post office is hemorrhaging money, and they want to expand their services into grocery delivery. Now, if you get grocery delivery from the Postal Service, you have to wake up at around 3 a.m. between 3 a.m. and 7 a.m. That's when they'll deliver groceries. So they're losing money and they're losing focus. And Congress, they're chicken. They don't want to go after the Postal Service because every member of Congress has at least one postal carrier in their district, or state. So they're afraid to have any real meaningful reform. But we need it. The Postal Service needs it.
Some good points discussed tonight. David Williams, president of the Taxpayers Protection Alliance. Thanks, Dave.
Thank you.